Welcome back, YouTube. It's Vince the Prince again here with another Power Rankings video. So obviously we are storming into week 3, and we are here to go over the top 10 teams of this week. Obviously the grading criteria will be here. Offensive grading and defensive grading are listed there as to how we are ranking these teams in the top 10, as well as 11 through 32, which will be down in the comments below, as well as the end of this video. So let's get right into it, guys. Again, another crazy week, a lot of crazy games that have happened, but a very interesting one. Some teams winning that probably shouldn't have won, some teams continuing to win that we already knew were going to win, and obviously some teams losing that we didn't think would lose. So a lot of things going on in the NFL, but obviously these power rankings will show the true teams this year. So in week 1, we still have the Buffalo Bills here. Obviously, they played a great game this past week, beating the Jets. I thought the Jets would have more in the tank, but Buffalo seems to be one of the best teams in the NFL at this point in time, and they showed it week 1, showed it week 2. Again, some stellar play from Josh Allen and company. They're going to go into week 3 playing the Miami Dolphins. I think Buffalo should steamroll the Dolphins, especially at home there in Buffalo. I don't think their rank should change unless we have a stellar matchup where the Miami Dolphins just find themselves and Buffalo loses themselves. But at this point in time, Josh Allen, that defense, all of the company, hopefully Keon Coleman can get back into it. But the tight ends, the running backs, the random wide receivers like with Shakir out there have just been rolling for the Bills, and it's continuing to do so. And I think it will do that in week 3. So Bills are going to stay sitting here for me. We'll see where they fall next week. Obviously, here at number 2, I have the Baltimore Ravens. Sorry, Reed, the Packers aren't moving up to 2 here or 1. The Ravens had a good game, and I can't knock them for this, beating the Doonies out of Cleveland like I expected them to. They played a great game. Lamar Jackson was really the star here, as well as that defense. Goodness gracious. Obviously, we had some very poor play from Derrick Henry, as well as the other running back behind him. What can you do? Sometimes the run game is not there with your running backs, and it's there in the passing game with everybody else. So some stellar play there from the Baltimore Ravens, especially on the defensive side, like I said. Look for this team to continue to stay hot this next week. Another tough matchup coming up against the Detroit Lions. This one is in Baltimore again, so it should be a great one in my opinion. As long as the Ravens stay true to themselves, run the ball, pass the ball, as they have been playing great defense against, pretty good teams in my opinion thus far, especially in week 1 against the Bills. I think the Ravens should be fine. I think the Detroit Lions are the ones that should be scared coming into this game, just like my fish right now as they're chasing each other. But at this point in time, the Ravens are great. We'll see if they can keep this up the entire season. Obviously, that is always the case here where it gets towards playoff time, and maybe the Ravens aren't as stellar as we thought they were. But for now, Ravens sit at 2. At 3, as I alluded to in the last one, the Green Bay Packers. They played well, but it wasn't a stellar win for me to move them up. Obviously, the Bills and the Ravens played some teams that weren't up to par, considering what Green Bay played. Obviously, Washington is a top 10 team last week in our video. So you could say that they should be moving up. But at this point in time, this game did not seem as dominant to me. Obviously, the defense plays great, and we saw that early on as the Commanders kind of came back and scored points towards the end of the game. So Green Bay is still looking great, right? Obviously, I would expect a little bit more from the offense there. Washington does not have the best defense, and I was expecting Green Bay to score a little bit more. But overall, the passing game looks great. I just wish that they could have gotten those passes down there to Golden. Would have put them possibly moving up in my rankings there, but we just still have some things to clean up, as every team does. But Green Bay is sitting at 3, and I think that's where they truly should stay at this point in time until they can show me, hopefully going into this next week, a game where they just beat the Doonies out of somebody. So obviously there is a chance that the Ravens or the Bills lose this upcoming week. There is a world where that happens, and the Packers could be moving up. But as long as they keep continuing to bring Michael Parsons into the fold there, obviously they have a lot of stars on that defense now that are just, resurging and making a name for themselves. So I definitely think guys like Rashawn Gary can definitely capitalize now with Mike Parsons there. And the Packers should stay in the top 5 for a while. At number 4 here, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. A close win here against Kansas City. I could have also had them moving up for getting a tough win here, but it just didn't look like a stellar team in my opinion. Obviously, still the Super Bowl champs of last year. They are the reigning champs here, obviously, but I wasn't very impressed. Obviously, Kansas City has a good defense as well as Patrick Mahomes on the other side of the ball to deal with. But it did not look like Philadelphia of old. This looked like a little bit of a dink down Philadelphia. And I don't know if that was because of Kansas City's defense or just because we were kind of discombobulated there. A.J. Brown is still not in the fold here. Almost they had an injury there with Devontae Smith, so he could have also been out of the game, but he ended up coming back and playing. Goddard is out. Obviously, Calcaterra there at the tight end position is in the fold, but the Eagles just didn't look stellar on offense, and I think they have a lot to clean up. They definitely have to get A.J. Brown more acclimated into this offense. Saquon is not looking like Saquon of old, but I think they'll be all right. It's still the beginning of the season. You have to give teams some grain of salt here, as well as all the teams below here as well. But the Eagles look well. They beat a powerhouse in Kansas City, even though Kansas City is 0-2 on the year. It happens. So I think Philadelphia will be fine. And I think this next week is a good test for them to see if they truly should be in the top 5. So they'll be going against the Rams here, who are both 2-0 teams. This one is in Philly, so the top out of the top 4 teams, 3 of them have a home game. The only one excluding the Packers against the Browns. So Philadelphia should have home field advantage here. They are playing at the 12 o'clock window, so this one should be on the red zone quite a bit. So this should be a good game. But for now, the Eagles will sit at 4. Moving on to number 5 here, I have the Detroit Lions. They put the freaking hammer down on the Chicago Bears, and I know Reed loved it. I know AJ loved it. I know I loved it, especially for fantasy purposes. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown went off with 3 touchdowns. I played against him in, I think, 1 or 2 leagues this week, but I ended up losing one of them, beat the guy in the other one. So it was definitely something to see. But Chicago looks bad. The Lions look better. Defense still has some things to work on. Aiden Hutchinson played well, as well as some of the linebackers and corners there for the Lions. But at this point in time, I'm seeing more dysfunction from the Chicago Bears versus great defensive play that would wow me from the Detroit Lions. But the offense looks like they're getting back. Gibbs played well. Montgomery played well. Obviously, Amon-Ra played well. Laporta was in there here and there. Again, not a super stellar game from him, but a lot of play there from like Williams getting a long touchdown. And he was being targeted quite frequently. So it looks like Jared Goff has his weapons back, and that's why Jared Goff looks good. As me and AJ say, he needs his guys around him for him to play stellar, as any quarterback does, but his is a little bit more inflated in my opinion. But next week, they have a true test again, going against the number 2 ranked for me, Ravens, and it is an away game for them. So this one will be another true test, just like how it was in week 1 with the Packers. Obviously, I do think the Ravens should win here. They are favored by 6. We'll see this one on Monday Night Football live with Reed and I. So make sure you're there. It should be a really good one. I think it will be closer than the spread here. But that's only if the Detroit Lions come to play like they did against the Bears. So we'll have to wait and see. But for now, the Lions will sit at 5. I think they've earned it, and we'll see what they do this week. At number 6 here, I have the Los Angeles Chargers, moving up 2 spots this week, as you can see there. They played well, I guess, against the Las Vegas Raiders. Obviously, the Las Vegas Raiders are still a team as a project, as I said in week 1 for these power rankings videos. I don't think Las Vegas is going to turn any heads like some people thought they were with John T. and now Geno Smith, a couple of other guys in the addition there. But they just have a lot to work on. But so do the Los Angeles Chargers. The offense looks great. The offensive line looks great. Herbert is passing on all cylinders. Obviously, some areas there where they could capitalize a little bit more. But at this point in time, they're still growing as a team. Harbaugh is really trying to get Hampton into the fold there. And I think until Hampton or the running game can get to a point where it's looking a little bit scary, this team is still going to be kind of capped. They can pass the ball all they want, but sometimes Herbert is not going to be able to fit in certain windows, especially against good defenses like they're going to play this week. Obviously, it's going to be a home game against Denver, but Denver's back 7 is pretty dang good. Front 4 or front 5, whatever their defense is going to be played in most majority of the game, if they're going to send pressure or not, it could disrupt the Chargers here, especially in the pass game. Herbert might not have enough time to do what he has usually been doing in these first few weeks, as the teams that they've played against have not gotten the best pressure on him throughout the entire game. But the Chargers looked good, in my opinion. Keenan Allen is resurging. Obviously, we see Quentin Johnston getting touchdowns still. So that's a good sign there for the guy that wasn't catching anything last year and now is catching everything. Obviously, we have LADD McConkey still in the fold there. I wish he was a little bit more prominent, but as we can see, as other people rise, his stock will also fall. So it's kind of like a true 3 wide receiver unit, and I really do like it for the Los Angeles Chargers. Sitting at 2-0 here, looks great. I think they should beat Denver, as they are favored by 2.5 points here. I think this is going to be a good one. So this one is at the mid afternoon slate at 3:05 for the Central Timers like us, but I'm going to be watching this one. I think this one should be a stellar one as a divisional rival game here, and I'm rooting for the Chargers. For now, though, they sit at 6. At number 7, moving down, I have the San Francisco 49ers. Obviously, a ton of injuries there. Brock Purdy's out. Kittle is out. Obviously, a bunch of wide receivers are out. Jennings almost went down again, and he's struggling again with another ankle or lower body injury. So the San Francisco 49ers are holding on to CMC, and I don't know what they sacrificed, but it probably was all their other stars for him to be on the field. So I don't know. I think Shanahan had something to do with it, doing a little bit of black magic, hopefully, there in San Francisco that will be a detriment to them later on in the season. But we'll see. Obviously, I hope everybody gets healthy. I do want to play the San Francisco 49ers at their best, as we usually do, and I would like to beat them at their best. But this next week, they should be okay against the Arizona Cardinals, who are surprisingly 2-0 at this point in time. This one will be at the mid-afternoon slate again, so I will be watching this one on the split screen. In my opinion, I think San Francisco should still beat Arizona, but it's definitely going to be a tougher game if they don't have some of their stars back, especially Brock Purdy. We'll see exactly how long he is out. But at this point in time, I still think the 49ers are dangerous. They're still getting wins, even though it is one of the worst teams in the NFL and only winning by 5. I think it's okay. So New Orleans was a tough test for them, as New Orleans does look okay, even though they continue to lose. San Francisco has some things to work out. Obviously, this helps for later on in the season when your backups have the playing time as well as the knowledge of what goes on in a game while you're out there. So I think this only benefits the 49ers, and I kind of hate it, but it happens, and they continue to win. So sitting atop the division at this point in time, tied with the Arizona Cardinals and Rams. So I think the 49ers should be all right going forward, but obviously tougher tests will come as long as a lot of guys continue to stay injured. At number 8 here, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, moving up 2 spots as well. A close win against Houston, comeback win as Houston took the lead late. And Jesus, I mean, talk about Baker Mayfield. It was Baker time. Me and Reed called it as we were live for this one. It was a great game. I loved it. Defensive output, offensive output late in the game with those pushes to kind of take the lead back and forth. It was awesome. I think Tampa Bay is one of the most dangerous teams offensively for the league, as long as they can keep it going against tough defenses like Houston's. They'll obviously face tougher ones later on in the year, but at this point in time, I think they are really, really good. So I cannot wait for Godwin to come back. Mike Evans finally got a little bit back in there. Mika Igbukka is dropping a couple of passes there, but he's a rookie, so we'll give him some grace. He is a great rookie, and he should not be dropping those passes. But it happens. Obviously, they still got the dub, but definitely some work to do there, especially on the defensive side too. I think they gave up a little bit too much to C.J. Stroud and the struggling offense late in the game. But we'll see what kind of happens throughout the year. Obviously, next week they will have the New York Jets, and I think this should be an easy win, especially if my boy Fields is out. Concussion protocol at this point in time. There is some skepticism that he would make it back, but Tampa Bay is favored by 7 here. And I think that's pretty accurate going in 2-0 and trying to stay at the top of this division. I do think they should win this one outright, to be honest. The division is not looking very, very good, especially the Panthers, but they do have some competition for sure. So we'll see what they continue to do. I think this should be a win and should be one of the first teams going 3-0 in that noon o'clock slate. At number 9, I have another NFC West team, the LA Rams. Obviously, a really good win against the Tennessee Titans. 33-19, pretty good. It looked like Cam Ward for a little bit was staying up with the LA Rams, which is very promising to see from Cam Ward in the Tennessee offense. I hope they get better with Eric Umenor, as well as some other younger guys on that team. I hope Okonkwo finally starts to play pretty well too. I've been in that guy's corner for a while at the tight ends position, but not about the Titans here. It's about the Rams. I think they are another formidable force, another great offense, and I think that's why they are here in the top 10. Just because obviously Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, a couple other guys there, especially Kyron Williams, who I think could do a little bit better. Obviously, O-line problems are a reason for that too. But Tennessee is not a pushover team, in my opinion. The defense is pretty stout sometimes against the run, but obviously they give up here and there quite a bit. But the LA Rams look fairly good. I am not scared, but a little bit worried about us going in there and beating the Rams as well. Obviously, the Rams will play Philadelphia this week, and I think this could be their first loss and hopefully help us kind of catch up into the division there. Go Seahawks. But I think this one's just going to be tough. Obviously, it's an away game. Philadelphia is looking to keep their streak going and stay undefeated. So are the Rams. But at this point in time, I think it's going to be tougher. But they do have a chance. Obviously, we know the dysfunctional play from Philadelphia, and LA could take a hold of that and definitely put some points up on the board and get some stops here and there to hopefully run away with this game. So the Rams definitely can win this one. I do think it's very possible. But honestly, I do think that this is their toughest test yet. So definitely going to have everything rolling on all cylinders, especially the defense is going to have to come to play with not many formidable stars at this point in time, but guys that get the job done. So they're going to need to step up and make plays here if they definitely want to stop the run with Saquon and Jalen Hurts. And last but not least, I do have the Washington Commanders here. Obviously, a tough game against Green Bay. That's why they're still, even though they fell in the top 10, just because it was a tough game. They looked a little bit better towards the end. So this team is still definitely trying to find themselves. I do think that it will get better for Washington. This is a good week to start facing the Raiders at home. They are favored by 3 in this one as of the time that I took the little snapshot that you saw earlier. But the Commanders definitely have the most kinks to kind of shake out from all these top 10 teams. The offense is not clicking at 100%, not even really at 75%, in my opinion. The run game, obviously, Bill is there. Krosky Merritt, I kind of can say it right this time. But Krosky Merritt still needs to solidify himself. Obviously, they do have a couple other guys like Chris Rodriguez in there that can kind of help here and there. But I do think they need to sign another free agent in order to kind of keep that pushing. Obviously, the O-line is not the best, but it's serviceable. And Deebo Samuels is playing well, but McLaurin kind of like waves. They either one of them is doing well or both of them are just doing bad. And it doesn't, bode well for Washington at this point in time. So Jaden Daniels obviously dealing with an injury too. He may not play, so we could see a little bit more of the Oregon faithful there in Marcus Mariota. So in my opinion, if it is Mariota, it's going to be a tougher game to win, but it's not impossible. Las Vegas is looking very dysfunctional at this point in time too. Not very good on the run. As well as the pass, as we saw Geno kind of struggle against a tougher defense. So hopefully Washington can hold them down. But at this point in time, it's going to be a rough one, in my opinion. So we'll see. Hopefully, Jaden Daniels can come back healthy and hopefully maybe play this game, but obviously don't rush him back. They sit at 1-1 at this point in time. I do think there's a chance that they will fall out of this top 10. It's going to be a tough one, in my opinion, as the Raiders are going to want to make a statement win. But that's it, guys. That is the top 10 so far. Obviously, a lot of teams there that have a lot of stuff to work on, a lot of teams that are doing very well at this point in time, and hopefully they can keep it going forward if they have chances and hopes to get to the Super Bowl this year. I will be listing out 11 through 20 here as of right now. So these are the teams and where they lie at this point in time. Obviously, upcoming, I will have 21 to 32. But thank you guys for watching here. Make sure you leave a comment down on why your team should be higher, or maybe you think another team should be lower. Should your team be in the top 10? Let me know down below in the comments. Also join the Discord, as it is linked down below too. We talk football, fantasy football, anything you need. Just having a community around you is great, as well as to tell you a little bit of insiders here and there and some advice on some trades and waiver wire pickups. Other than that, guys, I hope you loved the video again. Thank you for watching. Leave a like, leave a comment, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. But other than that, guys, have a great weekend filled with football. Have a good Thursday night football game tonight as well. And as we always say, keep on grinding.